Thank you for joining us today for the Workforce Development and Training Panel. We know a lot of our member tribes and tribes across the country are interested in renewable energy projects as a job creation strategy. Our four speakers today have significant experience with workforce development. First up, we have Deb Tiwa. Deb is a member of the Hopi tribe and is from Haute-Villa, Arizona. I'm sorry if I demolished the pronunciation of that town. She's also the owner and president of Tiwa Energy Service, LLC. She provides technical trainings on solar PV and residential electrical in the form of hands-on workshops. In addition, Deb conducts STEM activities for 4th through 12th graders. She has over 35 years experience in the electrical trade industry. She was previously employed with the Arizona Energy Office as a tribal energy coordinator and was instrumental in setting up an extensive photovoltaic lab at Central Arizona College, where she taught both beginning and advanced classes. She is the recipient of the 2021 American Indian Science and Engineering Society Professional Award for Indigenous Excellence. Welcome, Deb.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. My presentation will be on my workforce training here in Northern Arizona, and see if I can do this successfully and sharing my screen. Okay. And fairly new to all this Zoom technology in terms of presentation. So the usual question, can you see my screen? Okay, here we go. So this slideshow is an excerpt of what we do here in Northern Arizona. As Carrie mentioned, I have over 35 years in the industry and currently working with native renewables. So I will give you a short excerpt of what we do here in Northern Arizona. We were founded in 2016 by two incredible women, Suzanne Singer and Hyla Johns. And their vision was to bring over 15,000 PV system, lofty goal, to unelectrified homes here in Northern Arizona. We have a huge population who do not have any type of infrastructure, including electrical. And we also share our work in training local groups here, here in Arizona, and I will share that experience in my slides. My background, I won't repeat what was said earlier, but basically, I just done the calculations this morning. My work has now have reached 39 years in the industry. I started out as an electrician in commercial work, basically. I'm non-union, so I was able to move up into the leadership position within 6 months out of my trade school. I graduated from Northern Arizona University with a BS in Applied Indigenous Studies program with an emphasis in environmental science. Served my internship at Sandia Labs. Again, worked at Arizona Energy Office, and I was an instructor over at CAC, and it's been a wonderful ride so far. I wanted to start out with this slide for those who are interested in perhaps doing some kind of capacity within their own communities. And again, these are excerpts of what we've done in the past. I've been with NRI for approximately 3-4 years, and I was tasked to teach an electrical PV training. And luckily, we were partnered with To'Nisho'na'ane organization located in Hard Rock chapter. The Hard Rock chapter also invited us to use their facilities. We had 10 to 12 participants who drove, some drove 100 miles one way just to take these courses. And what we did was we gave them incentives, including a small stipend or reimbursement. And also from the organization, they served us lunch. So no one had to leave the building to a store, which may be about 20 miles away. Currently, to my knowledge, we have probably about 6 people in the solar field from that particular training, called cohort 1. And 2 people are with us part-time currently. What I do is I teach theory, and I'm a hands-on learning, so I'm really big on hands-on training. Also teach soft skills such as resume writing. We have presentations, and we also have site visits just to make a complete, just for our students to see what it's like in the classroom and what it looks like outside of the classroom. We currently partner with different industries, and we have specific trainings on their equipment, from specs to programming, for example, with an inverter. So our crew is very knowledgeable with all of the equipment that we use, the materials and such, and becoming very proficient with the language, and very impressed when we're on a training and the questions that they ask. Currently, we have continuing educations with cohorts. We're now at our 3rd cohort, and due to the C word, we are not really doing business as usual, but hopefully now that I think we're somewhat manageable, we can begin to bring cohort 3 to the shop so they can get their hands-on training with a mock setup. Again, we do continuing education in-house. Matter of fact, last week I just taught a basic electrical wiring. This is the crew. Currently we have 6 full-time staff and 5 part-time, and we are all native, 100% native. We have both Navajo and Hopi folks with NRI. So our training basically is on safety. I don't teach OSHA. We hire a professional to do that. Some of us have our OSHA 10, and some of us have our 30 card. Here in this picture, this is cohort 2. They set up a mock setup, whereas cohort 1 co-taught with me, so kind of leapfrog. So cohort 2 will co-teach with me to cohort 3. David here is learning how to use a clamp-on meter on a AGM battery. So we do a lot of technical trainings. And this, I just realized my slides are pretty much technical. So I'll try to explain as I go along. We include like temperature coefficients, storage of these batteries. DOD is depth of discharge or state of charge. And our cohorts must understand the specs. We also teach them how to do a load analysis, because obviously we deploy our systems out in Indian communities, and we want to make sure that they understand their load, that their systems can last for a very long time. I also teach basic electrical, because many of our homes don't have electricity, and I am transferring my knowledge to my crew to be able to take over this job. This is an example of what we do out in the field. This is an installation of a 2.4 kW system, kilowatt system. And this includes 6 modules, 8 batteries, and these are AGM batteries. And we also usually have the homeowners there so we can explain the system to them. And we have to emphasize on their load, the importance of teaching load and what they can use off of their system and what they cannot use off of their system. So this training is very inclusive. It's with our staff, with our crew, and with the homeowner. And if we're talking with maybe a community like chapter houses, we also talk with the governments as well. We do a lot of trenching out there. Soil conditions varies. Sometimes today's job or next week's job is going to be very rocky, but we're fairly lucky here that it was soft. So we work around the clock, weather permitting. And once we install the system, the homeowners are very happy to have electricity. Just another example of what we do with our crew. This is an inverter at P1, and he's looking at the specs, the videos, the voltage, make sure it's at the proper setting. And then we can commission it, which means that we will turn on the system so the customer will have electricity in his or her house. This is the basic electrical training I conducted last week. So this is really kind of like how I like to teach, bridging that theory with the actual. And this is just an example. We're preparing a site visit, and I would say that we're going to this particular area, which is also like 6 hours from our shop. And what I have them do is do an electrical drawing with the proper symbols for residential, and they have to produce a material list and a quote. Then they have to do a material run to Home Depot. So on that shelf behind the gentleman with the orange cap is my Home Depot. And once they bring their list to me and they come to Home Depot, and I ding them if they have to come back a couple times. And really just teaching the importance of being really consistent, paying attention to details, because we are very far away from any kind of hardware store. So we have to be as prepared as much as possible. Of course, yours truly, I will tend to forget something every now and then. So I use myself as an example of that. I still make mistakes, but I hope to train the crew here to do better than I can. The last part of this class was hands-on. They trimmed out a system. So this was with the duplex receptacle or an outlet, a switch, and a light. And the bonus was wearing a three-way switch. And they were able to draw that out, communicate critical thinking, and the light came on and off. So that was a successful training. Next training will be on troubleshooting, and that may be next week or the following week. So this is not good or bad. I just wanted to show that what type of barriers, if you will, that we encounter because of COVID. Some of us do like work from our home, and internet may have issues with that. Long distance driving, like today, I'll be driving after my session here. I'll be driving 2 hours one way to conduct a site visit. We have to check in with our customers to see if the roads are passable. And the weather, of course, we have more control over some of these things, but we also pay very close attention to the weather, so that way we're all safe. Funds, obviously, everyone has funding issues. Funds for our program, funds that the customers need to be able to acquire this. Not a barrier, so to speak, but language. I'm hoping I do not speak Navajo, and some of our customers can only speak Navajo or very little English. So luckily, I can speak Hopi, and the crew here can speak Navajo. So we're able to address that. Retention, how to keep people engaged. We encourage them to continue, see if they have a passion for this, and perhaps they can become a full-time employee. Again, the trainings on the equipment, if they get value out of this, so that they really understand the mechanics of what we're using out in the field and being able to translate this to the customer. There's plenty of jobs there. We have about 15,000 people to electrify. However, our current goal is to be able to deploy 100 off-grid photovoltaic systems. We have triage, or what I call troubleshooting. We have plenty of systems out there that don't work anymore, so we have to revive them. Again, I do the STEM and outreach to different communities. So all in all, work is good. We're not complaining, but you can see that we're very, very busy, and I like it that way. So conclusion, we do a lot of work, and I hope this kind of gives you an insight in terms of how you may start your own organization within your own communities.
Thank you so much, Deb. Next up, we have Nick Weber and Brady Weiss from the IBEW. Nick Weber currently serves as the Director of Business Development for IBEW Local 953 and the President of Greater West Central Area Labor Council. Prior to taking the position at Local 953 in 2018, Nick managed and worked on Wisconsin campaigns from governor to school board races and is currently the government liaison for the IBEW Wisconsin Utility Workers. And joining Nick is Brady Weiss. Brady currently serves as business manager of IBEW Local 953 and is the mayor of his community, Mondovi, Wisconsin. Brady is a journeyman lineman by trade and was elected vice president of the local union in 2004 and served as assistant business manager since 2007 until his appointment to business manager in 2021. Nick and Brady, thank you for joining us today, and the floor is all yours.
Carrie, thank you so much, and thanks to everybody for having us here. I can only see the panelists here, but I'm envisioning 55 bright smiling faces here talking about the future of our industry here, and I'm excited to be here. So as Carrie mentioned here, my name is Nick Weber. This is my colleague. Some people call him my boss, Brady Weiss, and we're here to a little bit talk about our organization and how we fit into the grander scheme of the energy infrastructure revolution that we are seeing here today. So we are from the IBEW Local Union 953. IBEW stands for the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers. We've been around here in the United States since 1891. IBEW Local Union 953, which services the Brotherhood of Electrical Workers in Wisconsin and Western Wisconsin, has been around since 1919. So we've been doing this here for a little bit. In our local here, we have approximately 2,000 members from anywhere in the energy and electrical sector, anything from telecommunications, tree trimming, power generation, power line, renewables, and things of that nature as well. With the IBEW, we have members in United States and Canada, totaling to be about 725,000 people across the country in the United States and Canada. Our main goal here as an organization and as a local is to promote family and community supporting jobs, wherever we can, right? This means hiring local workforces, training local workforces. So you are working on the projects in your hometown safely and efficiently, right? Our goal here also with the family and community supporting jobs is providing top of the line industry wages, health insurance, and a retirement plan here for those who are working within our industry, and our contracts that we enforce and negotiate each and every day back that up and things like that. So Brady's going to talk a little bit more in detail here about our training and on some of our strategic partnerships, but overall, our goal here in creating these family and community supporting jobs here is through our strategic alliances within the industry, in the community, and elected officials, right? So we are able, as a strong and powerful group of many, to be able to effectively work with our communities to partner and lobby for the projects needed for energy infrastructure, whether that be broadband expansion in local communities, whether that be solar fields, whether that be wind farms. We're happy to be a resource for any of the communities, whether it's a small municipality or a tribal community in our local area. You know, being able to promote safety and reliability within our infrastructure is what we do best. And we want to be able to partner with anybody who wants to, further those goals and have families supporting, community supporting jobs in our local area. So thank you again so much for having us here. Brady's going to go into a little bit more of the details about what we do on a day-to-day basis, what our partnerships look like, and be happy to answer any questions I believe that could be coming through the chat. So thank you.
Super. Obviously, we've only got a short amount of time today. I think Nick and I could probably both talk all day on some of the positives and advantages. I was interested to hear there with Deb's comments earlier in regards to the amount of area in her part of the country in Arizona that still operates within the tribal communities that are off the grid and don't have, a connection to utility infrastructure. So I find that very, very unique and really a challenge if you look at what other options are available for individuals to not only have electricity, but broadband communication, telephone service, internet, and other things that connect them to the outside world. So I found that very interesting. I want to touch on a few things. One of them, first and foremost, is when we look at training the workforces of the future and giving opportunities to our youth, I think that the IBEW has a great opportunity because we already have established apprenticeships in place. So if we look at our area, our part of the world, we belong to what's referred to as the Missouri Valley Line Apprenticeship Program. And that's really because the Missouri River runs through the heart of the jurisdiction, and that would be the state of Wisconsin, Minnesota, North, South Dakota, Iowa, Nebraska, and Missouri. So if we have folks that have an interest in going into trade occupations like being a lineman or a line worker, like being a substation electrician, we have the ability for them to apply to our programs and get the quality training and education that they need to go out there and successfully perform the work safely. And that's one of the fundamentals of the union, is to provide a safe working environment. I noticed also that when we talked earlier, some of the other presenters, some of the shortcomings of being a small contractor and having to look for the trainings that are necessary to complete the work. We have all of the infrastructure in place and the classroom settings in place to do all of those things, whether that be OSHA 10, OSHA 30, electrical compliance, and all of the associated trainings that folks need. So in our program, an apprentice that's hired and applies for our program goes through approximately 7,500 hours or 4 years worth of not only field work, but also academics. We have a $15 million training facility in Indianola, Iowa, and we also included some hyperlinks earlier. So if you want to do some independent research, you can look at our training facilities. But we bring those apprentices in 4 to 6 times throughout the year at a block of 1 week, and they receive all the types of training that they need, from electrical theory to rigging to anything that they'll need to complete their apprenticeship. So we work right now with approximately 1,000 apprentices over that jurisdiction, covering all of those states. To just put that in perspective, the amount of work that's being performed, when I started at the Union Hall back in 2007, we had approximately 300 apprentices that were working then. So now nearing 1,000, that just demonstrates the volume and the type of work that's taking place in the industry. So building on those apprenticeships that we talked about and those opportunities that could potentially go out into the tribal communities to go into the schools and have a conversation with our youth to see if there's an interest in entering the field, any type of the electrical field. And that our local takes care of utility and construction style work, but we can also partner with our inside locals to create electricians and other job classifications that are so badly needed in the industry right now. So above and beyond that, we, as Nick had mentioned earlier, we also have the opportunity to work with all of our industry partners in whether that is creating community-based energy generation, either on a cogen concept where the electrical that's produced is used either within in the community itself, or the possibility of putting that back on the electrical system for sale at a profit to the community. So there's lots of different ways to do that. There's solar generation, there's wind generation opportunities, but there's also other types of electrical generation that takes place that could benefit both parties. So when we look at some of the things that MTERA is trying to do, I think by partnering with people in the industry that already have things in place to train the workforce, we only see this as a benefit moving forward.
We got a question here, Brady.
Yeah, I'm reading questions here. Oh, so I was asked on our compensation and wages. So our apprentices that would go in at entry level, step one, would start out at approximately $30 an hour. With that $30 an hour, they also have a benefit package associated with that, retirement and health insurance and vision, dental, so a total package there for our workforce that comes out on day one, by the way, in industry. But that's a great question. And I know I'm already over my time, but I'll take as many questions as I can.
Thank you very much, IBEW. I think Carrie's caught up right now. We really appreciate your time. It's a great presentation. Last but not least, today we have Nick Hyla. Nick is the Executive Director of MREA, the Midwest Renewable Energy Association, where he works in partnership with organizations throughout the Midwest to advance solar energy education and market development initiatives. He holds an MS degree in natural resource management, has 15 years of experience in nonprofit leadership, and has served as the principal investigator on 6 U.S. DOE assistance agreements focused on solar workforce development to reduce the soft cost of solar energy. Nick, the floor is yours, and thank you for supporting MTERA.
Thank you, Jake. Thanks, Carrie, Deb, and the gents from IBEW. It's great to be here. And I'll jump right in. We represent the Midwest Renewable Energy Association. I am the executive director there. We have been for quite some time offering a renewable energy training and workforce development initiatives throughout the Midwest, and specifically focused in 7 Midwest states. But as I'm sure you're all aware, everything's available online now. So we do a lot of online training. We train over 650 individuals a year in the design, installation, operation, and maintenance of solar electric systems. And I want to just share with you our new training catalog. So you can see all of this on our website at midwestrenew.org. But this is hot off the presses, so I'll just kind of walk through some of our training offerings and our approach, and then take any questions. So we focus on training people from all experience levels and across disciplines. And so we do employ master electricians, union affiliated electricians, NABCEP certified PV installers to do the training, but often see this training is valuable for building science professionals, energy efficiency professionals, architects, construction apprentices, on and on. The solar is a growing resource from large scale installations that the unions and utilities are involved in to distributed energy resources on buildings across the country. And so there's a lot of demand for training and a lot of demand in the workforce. Solar installers, one of the top 10 fastest growing professions in the US, as many of you know. And so this is our campus down here. If you can see my screen at the bottom. So we do a lot of hands-on training at the campus. We have the first DC electric vehicle fast charger in the state installed under that solar canopy. And we have all kinds of hands-on training resources there, including commercial three-phase systems and the new energy storage tech center, lab roof experiences, and system design experiences. For the most part, though, our training focuses on NABCEP certification, which is the North American Board of Certified Energy Practitioners. It's the continent's leading certification for solar installers. And you can see kind of in this wheel over here, if you look at the catalog, you can see that they have a number of certification pathways, but in particular, our training really focuses on PV installer, PVIP, PV installation professional certification, PV design and sales certification, and PV inspector training. We're also partnered currently with the Create Energy Center in Madison through a National Science Foundation grant, working with NABCEP to create a task analysis and a training certification pathway for energy storage. And so our courses really start with the NABCEP PV Associate pathway, which you can see up here. It's 32 hours of training, can be taken online. And that training gets kind of this entry-level credential that they call the PV Associate training. We pride ourselves on, we have a 100% pass rate on an exam for our online courses, and we pride ourselves on being the most affordable and accessible training in the market for PV Associate training. You can see all of the courses for that training described and laid out here. They involved a good deal of online and hands-on training if you get the in-person hybrid training, which we offer as well. We also offer a series of advanced courses, including battery storage, off-grid systems, operation and maintenance, PV sales and finance, PV system inspection, and then have an entire continuing education series with manufacturers and installers delivering those. As I mentioned, we have a new energy storage tech center and 2 new energy storage courses that focus on the most advanced lithium ion storage, including smart inverters like SPAN, and an integration with resources like heat pumps. And so we have a lot to offer. You can see all our courses and some of the certifications that they align with, including Wisconsin DSPS and Minnesota Department of Licensing. And then beyond some of our training, we also have a job board, and I will try to share that with you right now if I can find it. It's at solarenergy.jobs. I don't see that actually on my, I don't see my ability to share that at this time, but if you go to solarenergy.jobs, you can see our jobs board, and we manage in our Solar Core partnership a network of community colleges that we support hands-on training and internships with support from the U.S. Department of Energy. And then of particular note, we have a scholarship program that can also be accessed through our website that fully funds the PV Associate training and provides paid internship opportunities. So we're in conversations with MTERA to offer that scholarship to MTERA members. We're actively working with Bob Blake of Solar Bear to offer those scholarships in the Minneapolis area, and would love to do more. So we're very engaged in the training market and making it accessible, and in placing graduates in workforce, and would look forward to working with any tribal nations affiliated with MTERA and providing scholarships and workforce training. And thank you for having me.
Thank you very much, Nick, and thank you to all of our presenters. I did see a question did get asked and answered, but it might be worth IBEW expanding on it a little bit. So the question was asked about the apprenticeship program and if travel was required. I saw you guys answer, but in terms of percentage time, can you talk a little bit more about that?
Sure. So I'd like to try to give a holistic answer. The apprenticeship that operates in the seven states that I had mentioned. So the goal is always to have the apprentice working close to their home. So they apply per each state area. But the reason why that the travel is required throughout the jurisdiction is that we want our apprentices to have the work exposure to all different types of scenarios throughout their apprenticeship. But also what we want is we want them to be able to complete the apprenticeship on time and stay, so they're not going through the program for 5 to 6 years. So if there's a style or a type of work that they need throughout their apprenticeship, the apprenticeship monitors those hours and they will move those apprentices around to get those exposures and those work experiences that they need so they can complete their apprenticeship, because it's not only an academic apprenticeship, but it also is coordinated with service hours that are tracked in the field based on task. So I hope that answers the question that was asked.
Thank you, guys. Let's see if I'm able to. Okay, so I think we have another question. I'm not sure if you saw this one. Is all the MREA training online or is some in person? I might have missed if that was answered because I had to step off for a few minutes, but.
Yeah, so if you go to our website, midwestrenew.org, you'll see that there is a somewhat confusing list of courses that are both, I shouldn't say both, that are self-paced online, so you can get your PD Associate credential all online. Weekend trainings we call Solar Training Academy, which is a training that's in person, one weekend a month for the working professional for 3 months at Solar Training Academy, or you can take in-person courses. We also do contracted trainings and have worked with Oneida Nation and Fond du Lac Tribal DNR, and so are always, and with our Rise Up Scholarship Program, can host an MTERA specific in-person training and can do that at no cost if there was enough students interested. So we basically, if you want training, we'll give it to you however you want it. What I did say though in my brief presentation was that for some reason, and I can't say exactly why this is, our online NABCEP associate training program has 100% pass rate. So if you do take it online, don't ruin our pass rate. Make sure you do a good job and pass that test. Oh, you're muted, Carrie.
That's been the theme of the day so far. So I think we have one more question. We have time for one more question real quick. Is it hard to apply for the IBEW apprenticeship, and is there a deadline?
That's a good question. It is not hard to apply. The prerequisites, there's different apprenticeships, but I'll use the power line worker apprenticeship. That's our largest apprenticeship. The applications usually take place and are open once a month. And I think Nick shared a hyperlink to the apprenticeship where we can get you that. The requirements are only a high school graduate or equivalent. And in some cases, some apprenticeships require a CDL license. You'd apply to the apprenticeship and then you'd be placed on an interview list. And then there's an aptitude test that you take and pass. If you pass that successfully, then you're scheduled for an interview. And we can assist with preparation with the aptitude test. But the only thing we can't do for an applicant is is get that commercial driver's license if that's one of the requirements. But other than that, the apprenticeship for the line worker program and the substation program, most of that is done online to apply for. Actually, all of the information is submitted online.
Excellent. Okay, so one more question real quick. Nick Brady and Nick, do your programs have any emphasis on getting women into your industries?
Yeah, it's a great point. So our apprenticeships are governed by the Department of Labor, which have set minority standards and set minority outreach, which I think not only couples with trying to get women in the industry, but I also think that the tribal communities have been underserved and not recognized as much as they should have. So when I first received the call here to be a part of this, just geographically where we're located in Wisconsin, we thought that this is a logical partnership, and we'd like to have the opportunity to not only come out and speak directly with with the tribal community, but also have an emphasis on women in getting involved in the industry. So yes, there are requirements. I will tell you that it is a predominantly male industry as far as the line worker trade, and we would like to see that change. And I think that's done primarily really through education and involvement.
And we'll put up that link here for whoever put it right now.
Yeah, and from the MREA, yes, we host Women in Renewables. We have courses specifically for women, and we also have a scholarship application to cover costs. And you can see some of the scholarships there. So I will post that in the chat. To answer a question that wasn't asked, if you look at the survey of national contractors in the solar industry, and then also look at the Wisconsin, where I'm located, Focus on Energy surveyed all their trade allies to ask them what qualifications are most desired and needed in employers across the country and in the state of Wisconsin. There are two that employers are looking for: electrical licensure and NABCEP certification. And so I think just having both the IBEW on the panel that teaches towards the electrical licensure and having the MREA that teaches towards NABCEP, those two options are great options for anybody looking to set them up for employment in the growing solar industry.
Okay.
So just wanted to interject one additional point, Carrie. Our local union gives out 6 scholarships as well. And that's not only to some of our members here and their families, but also independent of that, any students that are enrolled in any of the pre-apprentice training, which would be programs like electrical power distribution, which is taught at about 6 different technical colleges in Wisconsin. We do have scholarship opportunities for folks that want to get into the utility industry and the power line construction industry.
Excellent, thank you. Well, I think we're going to wrap the session up. Thank you everyone so much for participating. If there's probably some other questions in coming through the chat, seems like there's a lot, but I guess, sorry, we don't have time to get through all of them, but if you guys have your information in the chat, that would be great. Everybody can try to email you. So now we'll take about a 15-minute break where we're going to encourage you guys to step away from your computer and grab a cup of coffee, stretch a little bit, and then please head back to the event website. Go to the event hub to join our next program. But first, if you could take a minute to fill out our survey, that would be great. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, and nice meeting you all.
Thank you, everyone. Take care.